on this computer. Yes. All right. So I started, some of you guys heard a little spiel about right before, but I really started selling on Amazon back in 2021, pretty much 2 years to to the month, right? And when I started selling on Amazon, I really had no, understanding or concept of what that meant. I started essentially because there was someone on Twitter that was selling a bunch of things on Amazon. They were showing some profits, and I was like, "Look, that can't be all that difficult, right? There's something I'm missing to this." And so I basically hopped online. I started doing a little bit of research, and I realized that there's an abundance of information, and I was extremely confused, and but I was intrigued that this I could do this. Like this is not
how to do Amazon call.
Mm-hmm. 1 second.
I'm good.
All right. It intrigued me the fact that I could potentially make money selling on Amazon. I had really no understanding of what that really meant. So when I started, my process really was I started with $5,000. When I started, I had no mentorship. I had no understanding of the process. I was reading blogs and reading Twitter chats. I was going on Discord and I was reading all this stuff. But I was absolutely overwhelmed with a lot of the terminology that was being utilized. There was a term called buy box, and there was terms like FBA and FDM, and there was subscriptions of all these different individual services that I really had no understanding what they were. So as someone that was willing to learn, I basically signed up for everything. I really had no idea what I needed or what I didn't need. And I when I was going through that process, I spent a lot of money just doing this research phase, right? So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight are basically understanding what are some of the monthly subscription fees that you probably would look to be having, and initial startup cost, deciphering what the difference is between FBA and FDM, and what that even means, how much money you need to start. That's going to change for everyone based on how detailed you really want to do this, how much time you want to invest in this, selecting the type of business model that you're looking to get into. There are basically a couple of different models that I do. There is one that's FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon. All I do is I buy product and Amazon handles everything else. There's FBM, which is fulfillment by merchant, which is basically you take the product and you send it to the client once it's purchased. The difference between the two is really the difference between the two is sorry to just mute somebody. FBM is you are basically doing all the work. You're not really relying on Amazon to do any of that fulfillment for you. It's very similar to an eBay model, right? I don't do any FBM. I think it's way too, it's too time consuming. It's too much work. You have to deal with the customer. You have to do the whole process from soup to nuts. I'm going to go over the difference of what the Amazon buy box is and why it's so important. All the different various terminologies that are thrown around in our world, and what the importance of sales rank is and what it actually means, and why it's so absolutely vital. And honestly, there are six-figure sellers who don't do enough digging and research on what sales rank is. A couple other topics I'm going to talk about, not necessarily on, maybe I'll touch on them on this call, but for future calls, it would be, are you able to sell hazmat items? And hazmat items would be like colognes or gases or anything with a battery. That requires a different, regulation and permission within Google. Keepa. So Keepa is a third-party tool that people use to determine if a product is profitable. It is one of the most important tools. If you don't use Keepa, right, you're essentially going to the grocery store with a blindfold on. You are essentially buying blind, essentially. I'm going to go over ungating and what that means, how to pack and prep your items, what a prep center is, cashback tools, removals from Amazon. Like you send something to Amazon, you realize, wow, that was really not profitable. How do I get it back? I'll go over that. Credit card points. That's one of the major benefits of what we do. Different browser extensions and tools, meltables, so like chocolates and jelly beans and gummy bears, being able to send that stuff in. Here down in South Florida, you can't send chocolate in the mail. It essentially has to be on ice, and that's very similar to like Amazon thing. They have a fulfillment center specifically just for that type of stuff. We'll go over think about like size and weight. If we're sending something really large into Amazon, it's going to cost a little bit more. We're going to talk about small and light and what that means, what drop shipping is, and why Amazon absolutely hates it, and then basically the return process. 1 second, go down. So basically, there are 2 different types of subscription models within Amazon, right? And if you're starting off for the very first time, you're probably going to most likely do what I had done. Is I signed up as an individual seller account, which basically was kind of like a no commitment type mentality, right? Where I was essentially paying $1 per unit sold, in addition to all the fees, right? So I wasn't, tied into any type of monthly subscription. And essentially what that allowed me to do is kind of get my feet wet without jumping in full tilt. And there are, oh, sorry. I don't know why my mouse doesn't work when I'm doing this. There are 2 different types of plans. Like I said, individual, you're basically 99 cents per item sold. It's great for if you're selling less than 40 items a month. Most Amazon sellers are selling anywhere between 500 and 1,000 products a month. So if you're selling more than 40 items a month, it makes most sense to go up to the next plan. It is $40 a month. It's something that's I don't actually pay them. They take it from my balance, so I don't ever see it. And that's what's recommended, at least to start. I'm definitely now on the professional plan, and it just basically goes in. So going a little bit further, so I started Amazon in June 2021. I started with $5,000. About 6 months in, I was like I said, I had little to no experience of what I was actually doing and how I was actually doing it. I was signing up for all these tools, all these things. I was basically, making a bunch of mistakes. I really had no idea. We got to think this was like mid-COVID, and my 9 to 5, my main gig was a little bit slower. I had a bunch of time on my hands, and Amazon kind of popped up on my newsfeed and on Twitter, and I was intrigued. Essentially, what I had done was, my only introduction to what Amazon was is when people go to like stores, they go to Walmart, they go to like Nike, and they go like into places and they scan items and then basically resell them online. That was my only trend. So I did exactly that. I went to like the Nike outlet. I went to like Kohl's. I went to like Marshalls, and I started scanning items, and I realized that like the stuff I was seeing in store was actually selling higher on Amazon. And there's an Amazon seller app, which is basically geared towards only Amazon sellers. And what it allows you to do is you can take your phone and you scan an item, and it will you scan the barcode, and that barcode will come back to a product that's associated on Amazon, and you can basically see like, hey, it's $15 at the store, but it's selling for $40 on Amazon, right? So by default, you would think that you would get 100% of those funds. That's absolutely not the case. Amazon takes a huge portion of what you actually make. And I don't actually know the actual fees and what that model looks like, but it's like 20 to 30%, maybe even more. After I started doing all this, I was going to all these stores, and I was buying all this product. I was sending it to Amazon. Then I was like realizing, I was like, it's not selling, right? I was sending all this, and I had a lot of stuff. I had like, at the time it was like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of inventory that was just sitting at Amazon's warehouse, and I was making no money. I would have a sale every couple of days, and that's because I really had no clue what I was doing. Just because something shows that it's profitable on the Amazon seller app doesn't mean that it's actually going to sell. And what I mean by that is, like, one of the things I talked about was like what a sales rank is. So Sales rank is a number. Let me see if I can find it in here. So there's one second. I did a whole tab on sales rank and there's so sales rank is every product has something we call a sales rank, and this rank every single category. I think there's like 30 or 40 categories on Amazon, and every category has their own sales rank algorithm, right? So gourmet grocery and gourmet food. This product I'm looking at right here is a 696. Typically speaking, anything under 10,000 in most categories, it's considered a huge win, right? And if it's under 10,000, even if it's under 100,000, it's it's going to sell pretty quickly. This is a chart that was updated a couple weeks ago. You can basically see that anybody in the top, basically there's a bunch of different categories here. There's appliances, there's arts and crafts, there's automotive, there's baby, beauty, all this type of stuff. Essentially, I try to sell in these top two categories, right? And what this means is there is, what was it? There is a total of, one second, my screen just blurred out here. There's a total of like, one second, guys, technical difficulties. All right, whatever. There's a ton of products that you can be able to sell. And basically what this means is if I go over to home and kitchen, right? If I want to stay in the top 1% of the products, my rank has to be lower than 1.2 million, right? I think that's extremely high. I try to stay under about 100,000 for products I want to buy. So if I'm going to the store and I find a product that has a sales rank of 638,000, I'm skipping it, just personally. But if that rank came back at a 95,000, it's pretty guaranteed that that product's going to be selling anywhere between 0 and 100 times a month. And depending on the cost and the profit of the item and how many sellers are on that listing, you can make a decent amount of money. So like, let's say you found a product that you were buying for $10 and you were able to sell it for 30, right? After all said and done, you're probably making $6 or $7 profit per item. And that item is selling 50 times a month. You have 7 times $50 a month. You could potentially earn 300 bucks a month on one product by just basically replenishing on Amazon. And you can do this a lot of times. I mean, there's 7.4 million products in the top 1% of Amazon. There's 744 million products on Amazon to date. So there's a huge opportunity to sell a ton of product on Amazon. This goes into kind of like my next, my next kind of modality is what, no, I'm going to jump back a little bit. Is one of the things. So I said that I started with, $5,000. I was able to turn $5,000 after that kind of like that lull period of the first 6 months, and I since then, 2 years later, I've been able to acquire about $400,000 worth of product with my initial $5,000. I've sold $761,000 worth of sales from those $400,000 worth of product. I have profited about $93,000. And however, if you look at all the numbers, the biggest number basically on here of profit is Amazon. So Amazon made $242,000 on my sales. But I made a measly 93 grand. I don't look at it like that. I still made $93,000 in 2 years selling on Amazon. And I'm extremely happy with that because, that's a lot of hard work I put in. During this process, I've had about 1,000 refunds, give or take. A refund does not necessarily mean I've lost money on that item, right? A refund essentially means the customer is no longer happy with their product. That product goes back to Amazon. Depending on if that product is still in good condition, that item will either be considered sellable and goes back in my inventory, or it gets deemed as unsellable. A lot of times the product will be deemed unsellable, be shipped back to me, and it's in perfect condition. And I just basically send it right back to Amazon. Of those 1,000 refunds I got, only 10 of them over the course of 2 years have been deemed unsellable. And of all of the items that have been deemed unsellable, every single one of them has been a pair of shoes. You can return shoes on Amazon, and don't do this. If you do this, then shame on you. But you can take a pair of shoes after wearing them for 3 years and send them back to the seller and be like, I want a refund. Amazon has no say in terms of that. It's really messed up. Now I really strive to pay myself, anywhere between like $2,000 to $5,000 a month, specifically just for my Amazon business. And again, this is just my process, my story of how this all kind of works. I do invest a ton of money into Amazon in a given month. In addition to everything I've kind of earned through the Amazon platform, I've earned about $13,000 in cash back through like Rakuten, Top Cashback. There's the new one that I've been using is like Frugal something. And I've earned about 1 million points on American Express. So all of a sudden, it's well over 6 figures in terms of, what I've been able to make completely on the side. I no longer prep my items. I no longer touch my items. I never even leave my house to do this. And I do this 100% on the side. So, it's definitely worth my time. You can see some numbers here. These are just a snapshot of something I took earlier today. So I basically sold 785,000 items, or sorry, 785,000 products on Amazon. So going into basically what are these two different models, right? So, and I think this drawing basically helps you. FBA is you basically buy your product, and the product you buy, you pack it and you prep it and send it into Amazon. Amazon handles everything else from that point forward. FBM, essentially, you're packing, prepping it, and you're sending out to the customer directly. So if there's a refund, if there's an issue with shipping, let's say you ship your item to your client. Let's say it's a fishing reel. You send that item to your customer. Your customer claims they didn't get it. You're responsible. Amazon, they'll most likely cover the cost of the missing item, and it happens often. So there's definitely some pros and cons with the difference between FBA and FBM. I think one of the biggest pros with FBM is there's a bit more, there's more profit in FBM overall, just because there's no fee, the Amazon fees. FBA, it's a more hands-off approach. Most of the people that do Amazon on a monthly basis really doing underneath the FBA model. Oops, I went the wrong way. All right. And I think this is one of the largest questions I always get is like, how much money do I need? Can I start with $500? Can I start with $1,000? And all these different things. And I mean, you can. There's no rhyme or reason of why you cannot. In my experience, I had to start with 5,000. I made a couple mistakes along the way. There are some monthly subscriptions that you are going to be required to need. These are the ones that I use. I use Keepa. It's about $20 a month. This is like a product research. Basically tells me if something is selling, how often it's selling, how many variations are on the listing. Are those variations selling? Is Amazon selling on my listing? There's a whole bunch of different deals. There's an FBA calculator. I use Ace and Zen. It basically allows me to show, I can basically take the product, I can put in the buy cost, the sell cost, and it will generate basically a P&L for me right then and there. That way I can determine if something's worth my while. There's inventory management. Think of it like QuickBooks. It's very similar. It's called Shopkeeper. It essentially tracks all my profit and loss with Amazon from everything. And I put everything in there. I put all my expenses from a month-to-month basis, and then you put your Amazon seller account. And a lot of other people have other different subscription services on here. There are, paid lead groups. There is wholesale memberships. There's a whole bunch of stuff that that I'm not keeping in here that you can basically see. So in addition to that, we have some of the things you'll probably need, at least initially, in order to kind of get your feet wet, if this is something you want to start doing, is basically the basic necessities. You're going to need some type of printer. A thermal printer is how you actually pack them, send your items out to Amazon. It's like the little label that you see, you get on UPS, the different labels, a tape gun. You'll need a scale, box cutter. You'll need like little stickers that you slap on the actual UPC of your products. That way, Amazon knows that your product is your product when it goes to the fulfillment center. And the way that works is, let's say I found my first item I bought and sold were dog poop bags, right? And when I found them at Home Goods, I had about 25 boxes of these poop bags, and those poop bags, basically I was making like $3 to $4 for every box I sold, right? And the way that Amazon determines a product is my product is you have to place a little, it's called like an FK, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's a little sticker that has a barcode on it, and that barcode goes over the UPC on the actual box itself. And Amazon gives you a list of requirements of does the item need to be polybagged? Does it need to be boxed? Does it need to be bubble wrapped, or can it be just thrown in a box, right? And once you do that, once you prep these items, you put them in a box and you can ship them off to Amazon. Amazon gives you like a shipping plan. It tells you like, hey, we have 20 boxes of these poop bags in a box. You have 10 mascaras in a box. You have some glue in a box here. Amazon will tell you what stuff goes into what box. They provide you a label and you ship your stuff off to Amazon. That packing and prepping process, I no longer do. I learned very early on in my Amazon process, in my Amazon journey, I absolutely hate prepping items. I'm not good at it. It's time consuming. I'd rather outsource the tasks that I don't want to do. And what that allows you to do, it frees up my time to be able to do stuff that I do want to do. I tell everyone to start prepping their own items to determine like what they want and what they where they strive to go. I can tell you that most people, they go to a prep center pretty quickly after prepping their first couple thousand items. Me and my wife prepped probably 2,000 items before I ventured off into a prep center. At one point, I wish I put a picture of it on this slideshow, but at one point I probably had my entire garage was absolutely filled with items. And it was, pretty extensive at one point. In addition, I mentioned the term prep center, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking like, what the hell is a prep center? So a prep center is essentially what I do, what I used to do, but just in more of a business sense. And what that means is I use a company out in Oregon. I use a company out in Oregon because Oregon is a tax-free state. So when I send any of my items into Amazon or into Oregon, I don't have to pay any sales tax. So if I'm buying from some store online, I can buy it. I put my address in, which is an address in Oregon. Instead of paying the 7.58% or whatever I pay down in Florida for sales tax, I pay zero. It increases my profit margin, and I make a little bit more money. And so I send all my items to this prep center, and what I do is I basically log in and I tell the company, hey, I'm buying, like for instance, I bought 2 pairs of shoes yesterday. Yesterday. I told them these are the 2 shoes I bought. This is how many I bought, and this is where it is in my inventory. So once it arrives into their warehouse, it gets associated as my shoes. And once they have up to 50 items, they'll pack and prep a shipment for me, and they send it off for me. So I absolutely do. The only thing I'm doing for my business these days is buying inventory. I don't even touch the items anymore. I don't have any, my hands are not on any product anymore. And it really frees up my time. That way I can continue buying the most profitable products. It does cost a little bit more money, rightfully so. If you pack and prep your own items, you have to get your own supplies, but like you also have the time, you have to have the time to be able to pack these items. And, if you have kids or you're tired, you have a full-time job, the packing and prepping get pretty tiring pretty quickly. And it becomes almost kind of like a chore that has to get done at the house. And, and if you're anything like me, chores are not fun and they kind of go by the wayside. And that's how my business was going. I remember like Q4 of 2021, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I need to find a prep center. And I found a prep center. I pay about anywhere from $1 to $2 per unit for them to pack and prep it for me. So for instance, if I'm sending, for those 2 pairs of shoes that I just bought yesterday, so I'll pay probably $4 for them to pack and prep that item for me. Does it take $4 to pack and prep for shoes? All you got to do is slap one of those labels on the UPC on the box, and then wrap it with a rubber band. That way the shoes don't fall out, and that's it. So they're making a killing on the packing and prepping. I'm outsourcing it. I'm happy. They're happy. Now, any given month, I'm paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month in packing and prepping costs, which honestly, I pay that all day long not to have to pack any of the items. So brings me into my kind of like my next topic is what type of model do you want to do, right? So there is the retail arbitrage model, which allows you to go into stores if you have the time. I think most of us have full-time jobs, don't have the time to go into a store. Neither do I. I did the retail arbitrage model for like a month. I realized this is absolutely not for me. I don't like driving around. It's extremely frustrating when you can't find an item. So you drove to a store, you think you're going to spend all this money, and you get there and you find nothing. Right? It's really defeating. And I just that's not fun for me. Goes into the next thing is online arbitrage. Like, what is online arbitrage? It's exactly what you think it is. So you go to any type of store that you usually shop at. Let's say in this case it's Walmart. Let's say I go to Walmart, and I'll tell you an item I'm selling right now. So I sell a toothbrush that I buy from a Walmart. I buy it for $19.99. I sell it for $31. You would think like that's, there's a $11 profit margin. That's absolutely not the case. Amazon's fees are like $9 of that. But what I do is I basically found an item at walmart.com. I can buy as many as I want, and I ship it right to my prep center, and I can make about $1 a unit. That ROI and those margins are not all that great, but this item sells 200 to 300 times a day. So I could basically take, buy 200 toothbrushes in a day and send them to Amazon and make it $200 a day, pretty much every single day of the week. Keep in mind, there's one caveat to that. You're banking on the fact that the price is going to stay at $31. Think of the Amazon seller realm similar to like how an auction is, right? So you're getting constantly outbid. In this case, the lower the amount of money, the more likely you're going to get a sale. So if I list my product at $31, someone might list it at $30.99 and try to, knock me out of what we call the buy box. The buy box is the holy grail of Amazon. It's the box that's on the side of a product that basically says buy now, right? You click that buy now, you're automatically purchasing that product. If you get in the buy box as an Amazon seller, you're basically you're going to rake in sales. I'm going to keep on going, and then you have online arbitrage, and then you have wholesale. I think a lot of people think they want to get into wholesale right away. I think wholesale is an absolutely great opportunity to kind of get your feet wet. I do not recommend it for new sellers, just because you really need to make sure your product research is top notch. You know what you're buying, you know how well it's going to sell. You understand like you understand how this all works. And my experience, wholesale is there's a barrier for entry, right? It's not as easy to just find a wholesale distributor or a provider, a supplier that's going to be like, hey, yeah, no problem. Here's $20,000 of the product. You can sell this on Amazon. That's not the case. That's not how it works. I think you'll start to realize is a lot of people really don't like people like us reselling online. Unfortunately. And what I mean by that is we're basically deemed as the common term of being a reseller, right? We're basically buying for something for low and selling it for high, right? And we're doing this in different different opportunities. So like for instance, a couple of my hot sellers on online arbitrage have been Nike backpacks. I can buy a Nike backpack for $20 and resell for $50. And you can do that, last year in July of 2022 and August of September 2022, I sold 1,900 products in 2 months, in basically about a 60-day period. I spent about $80,000 on product. I sold about $180,000 worth of inventory, like in gross sales, and I profited about 16 grand. And only from backpacks. I only sold backpacks. I basically sold for the back to school rush, and so in that back to school rush, I essentially made 17 grand, banking on the fact that I knew that everyone was going to go back to school. This is a little bit more about online arbitrage, with online and retail arbitrage. Totally different, totally different models. Everyone's models are a little bit different. These stats right here are from a seller that that's a couple of me and my friends kind of start helping. He's 23, 24 years old. He started, a couple months ago, and you can basically see year to date, he's done about $32,000 in sales, which is probably equated to I don't know, a couple $1,000s in profit. It's you got to think the total product sales is like the overall number. We don't know what the cost of goods are, and then you don't really know what the margins are, but like, this probably equates to about like $3,000 to $4,000 in profit. Wholesale. This is a wholesale provider that I use. It's a company based in Jacksonville. I personally, I've been putting a lot of my time and effort into wholesale, really because is when you're doing the online arbitrage model, these online providers, these online websites really don't like the fact that you're buying in bulk. So I'm be buying, in order of 10 to 12 at a time and buying it in multiples and multiples. And essentially what happens is I start to get banned from these websites from buying too much product, right? There's the supply and demand for sellers on Amazon is unreal. It's honestly endless. You can, once you start doing the product research, you can really start to tell like, hey, this is what's selling, this is what is profitable. You can really start to understand like, this is how profitable a product really is. And so essentially I started going into this wholesale model, and what the wholesale model really allows me to do is I can buy excess product and basically still have the same returns of what I was doing. I mean, I just found a product, I've been using the service for about 6 weeks now. I found a product probably like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's some fiber supplement. I don't even know what it is. Never even touched the product. They sent it and they ship it to Amazon for me. And it's selling like crazy. So I bought a test run of 300 products. And once I bought so once they actually hit the Amazon warehouse, they started selling immediately. I sold 125 units in 2 days on Amazon at a $7.50 profit margin. And I was like, wow, I got to get more of these. So I bought 1,200 more. Those are actually en route to Amazon now. And it's, the wholesale for me is more where I'm going to start venturing a lot of my time and my energy to, just because I can buy in bulk, and I think it's a more scalable model. The downside of using this wholesale distributor is to be able to actually gain access to their platform. It's $6,000 a year just to gain access to their platform. At first, that number really scared me because I'm like, wow, that's $6,000. But when I actually broke it down, they pack and prep your items for free, as a part of that $6,000 fee. And initially, you're probably thinking, wow, like that's a lot of money. Well, through my other prep center that I'm doing with online arbitrage, I'm paying around $1,500 to $1,000 a month just for them to pack and prep my items. So I'm spending essentially I'm spending anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 a year for a prep center in Oregon to pack and prep my items, versus I'm paying $6,000 to gain access to this platform where I can buy as much inventory as I want, and they're packing and prepping it free. So for me, this was a no-brainer. This is not something I do recommend, at least initially, but ultimately, if you want to scale business, this is a route that I would recommend going in down the road. The buy box. This is the holy grail. You guys, everyone has seen it. This is what everyone wants when they're selling on Amazon. You want to become on the Amazon buy box, and the Amazon buy box doesn't necessarily mean that you're the lowest price, right? The lowest price does not always mean you're going to earn the buy box. However, it is that is the case a lot of the time. You could see, so in this product or whatever this was, I don't even remember what this was at the time. This person was selling for $149.99, and if you were to add to cart or buy now, you're basically occupying the buy box. One of the things that's important to see here is you see where it says ships from and then sold by. So if you see ships from and it says the store right there, this is an FBM seller. This is someone who's selling this fulfillment by merchant. So this person is selling this product from their warehouse and they're shipping it directly to the customer. This is not getting fulfilled by Amazon. 9 times out of 10, if you are an FBA seller fulfilled by Amazon, and Amazon is holding your product and they're shipping and prepping your item to send it to the customer, you're going to occupy that buy box. So that's a huge winning point between the differences of FBA and FBM. If you are an FBA seller, this is where you want to go. Ungating brands and categories, and I get this question all the time. What is ungating? Can I sell any product online? Are these companies allowing me to sell online? yes and no, kind of. Amazon is allowing you to sell those online. The brand and the supplier are not necessarily allowing you to sell their product online. I know that's a little confusing, and it took me a long time to kind of wrap my head around this. But essentially, every category on Amazon as a new seller is what we call gated. It means you're blocked. It means you're not allowed to sell in it. And every single category pretty much on the planet. So if you want to sell anything grocery, you're going to have to get ungated in grocery. And then, not only you have to get ungated in grocery, you also have to get ungated for the different brands inside grocery. If you want to start selling toys, you're going to have to get ungated in toys. And then you're going to have to start getting ungated for the different brands underneath toys. So if you want to sell a Mattel a toy, you're going to have to get ungated in toys and get ungated in Mattel. This applies for all parts of Amazon. And in order to get ungated for these brands and categories, you're going to have to find a distributor, a wholesale company of some sort that basically will provide you an invoice that says, hey, this is so and so is able to sell, this brand, this product, right? You submit that invoice to Amazon, and essentially what happens is allows you to ungate that brand. Ungating is an unfortunate part of the, kind of the startup process. That's why I said in the initial, when I started, it's like, if you wanted to start with a $500 budget, you got to factor in all of these additional costs and time that you're going to put in. So you have all your tools and subscriptions, you have all your packing supplies to get going, and now you're just going to have to start ungating brands to even sell that product in that category, right? So ungating your brand could cost you $10. It could cost you $200. And that applies for every single brand that you want to sell on Amazon. I wouldn't go crazy, if selling on Amazon is something you tend to want to do. I wouldn't go crazy about ungating all these crazy brands. Do it kind of as you start to sell, like, hey, I found a really good product. It's this brand. I want to start selling it. Then you can start ungating from there. That way, you're not spending all this unnecessarily money not selling anything. Like, for instance, I was looking at something the other day. I was gated. It was a Sonos branded item. I went through the request approval process. I was ungated. I couldn't get ungated. I skipped the product because I don't want to spend the time to ungate a product in Sonos, because anything Sonos is really expensive. So an ungate in Sonos could cost me anywhere from $500 to $700 just to get the ungate for Sonos, just to basically. And keep in mind, when I'm ungating those products in those categories, those products I just purchased may not even be profitable to sell at current market value. I'm basically just using those products to ungate that category on Amazon. So that's, and kind of backtrack. So when I'm saying this is Amazon is allowing you to sell those products on Amazon. Those brands are not. So it's a big misconception, and it's going to take, and I'll have a lot more information about ungating through this whole process. So we have our own little lingo when it comes to selling on Amazon. There are so many different types of terminology. I put together the stuff that made the most sense to me. Is you have ASIN, you have ASIN, this is buy box, and I'll leave some of this out for you guys to kind of go through. FC is fulfillment center, hazmat, map, all that kind of stuff. And this, I'll leave that for you guys. You can go through. Let me go through this. So this is sales rank, additional topics. So in addition to the stuff that I kind of just spoke about, there's so many different more products, topics you could speak about. There are, kind of like I said in the beginning, is hazmat, Keepa. How do you actually source? How do you find products? I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple different things that is not on this thing. In addition, I run a Discord group that is very similar to kind of like Facebook. I was really unsure what Discord was when I first started this Amazon stuff. It's basically like an online chat room. Right? If anyone is in their 30s, you guys all remember like the AOL chat rooms and AIM and stuff like that. Like it's very similar to that, right? And I started a Discord group that basically helps sellers find leads and new opportunities to basically resell things on Amazon, right? And I've helped, probably hundreds of people scale their online business. And keep in mind, I prior to 2 years ago, I have really no experience doing this. I basically applied what I knew in my marketing business. I applied it to Amazon and it worked. And there is just so much opportunity to potentially try to, make a little money. There we go. And so that's that. There's some different things I'm going to start doing. Give me one second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for 1 second, and I'm gonna pop over to my my screen. 1 second. I'm gonna share, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna do this, and you guys should still be able to see my screen here. So this is a product that I'm gonna show you kind of like the sourcing, modality of kind of like what I do, right? So this is a product I found through my wholesale stuff, but I wanted to see if it was profitable. So this is a tool that I use that basically determines if a product is profitable or not. So this product right here is called Ace and Zen. I think this product, this plugin, this thing that I use for my sourcing costs like $30 a month. It's invaluable. I would pay $1,000 a month for the same software because this tells me if a product is actually profitable or not. So essentially, this product, I was talking about like sales rank, right? And sales rank and how well sales rank in the actual buying persona of someone buying a product, right? So the BSR is sales rank. It's best sales rank. The best real sales rank is 46,458. This basically is in the top 1-2% of all the products in, I think this is grocery or pantry or something like that, on Amazon. So it's telling me that this product sells an estimated 108 times a month, and it basically generates about $2,000 worth of revenue on a month-to-month basis, right? So not necessarily would I look at this and be like, hey, I want to take this product and sell it. There's a lot of different things I'm going to want to do to determine if this is something that I want to purchase. So let's say you found this product at Walmart, right? You were scanning the aisles, you went through, let's say you were doing it retail, and then you hopped on Walmart.com and you said, I want to take this product and I want to buy this. This is a 2-pack. So Melinda's garlic sauce marinade. I want to sell this. I got it for a buy cost of $7.50, right? I'm gonna turn off my custom cost. The reason I have this custom cost in here is because my pack and prep costs about $1.50 per item. I'm gonna turn it off because I'm gonna say I got this through wholesale. I don't have to pay the pack and prep. So if I wanted to sell this at current market value, I can make about $1.64 per profit per this item. Is that worth it? Absolutely not. I would never buy this product, right? Only because there's not enough profit here for me to say like, wow, this is worth it. And it doesn't sell enough for me to dump a bunch of money into this and be profitable. You're still making 22% ROI, but at the end of the day, there's not enough give there for me, right? And you can basically see, this tool essentially tells me like, hey, this is, the buy box has been $18.99 basically for the last 6 months. So the price is really not going to go up past $18.99. However, it still may. And there are only 2 other sellers on this listing. So the only reason I would think to maybe potentially buy this item is because there is not a lot of sellers. If there is a lot of sellers, you're basically reducing your chance of actually selling an item. So in this case, there are 3 variations of this product. There's a 1-pack, there's a 2-pack, and there's a 3-pack. So basic knowledge and understanding of how Amazon works is if a 1-pack is going to be extremely less expensive than a 2-pack, then a 2-pack, like you just want to make sure the numbers make sense. So like for instance, $8.64 for 1, it's going to cost me $18.68 for 2, right? So I can just buy a 1-pack twice and get it for cheaper than I would for a 2-pack. That's why this listing is no good. And then, but a 3-pack this makes it a little bit more worth it. So a 3-pack is something I would entertain. However, I can't source a product for that, those margins. So, you got to take into account. However, this doesn't always deter people. Sometimes people just want a 2-pack and they'll buy it regardless of the price. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you whether or not this is actually something that, people do. So this tool down here, I talked about Keepa when I first started the presentation. Keepa is going to be the most important tool that you use when you're buying anything on Amazon. You're probably looking at this chart and you're saying, what the hell is this, right? This is a bunch of numbers and graphs and charts and all this type of shit. Sales rank, this basically tells me, what the rank has been doing. Every single time you see it jump up and down, that's a sale. So I can tell this is selling over the course of a month. And however, I'm looking at a 365-day view. So there's not a whole lot of, it's moving, but like not a whole bunch. And it basically shows me what the price was and what the rank is. So you can basically see it's not moving from the $18.99 mark pretty much at all, right? It's basically saying pretty solid right there. I can see if there are a FBM seller, an FBA seller. I can see the rank. I can see the price action. I can see pretty much all the information I want to see. Another thing down here is I can see the rankings, the ratings actually of the product. There's not a lot of ratings on this product that tells me that's not really selling all that fast. Typically speaking, reviews on Amazon for every there's no actual metrics or numbers to actually back this, but it's basically every 1,000 products that get sold, you'll get one review. So you got to think. So we've had maybe one review over the course of the last year. So this product is really not selling all that fast. However, the other thing I can see here is how many people are selling this product, right? So there's been maybe 1 or 2 sellers this entire time. This could be interesting because the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop down here to variations, and then I can see, based off my rating theory, is a 1-pack is selling 91% of the time. It's kind of a no-brainer. Of course it is. A 2-pack is selling 8% of the time. And a 3-pack is selling 1% of the time. And this basically tells me this listing was essentially created on April 13th and is very, very new. But what this tells me is this 8%, right? So I scroll back up at the top here. So 8% of the 108 sales a month could be basically on this actual listing itself, right? So let's call it 10%. There's probably 8 or 9 sales a month on this listing. Again, not something I would put a whole bunch of money into, but this person that's actually occupying the buy box is probably getting all 8 of those sales on a month-to-month basis. And again, this is not a great product to show because it doesn't really show a lot of profit. Here is a second product. Let me pull this up. This is a very interesting product. This is something I was actively going to be looking into when I was buying. You can see that the ROI is 65%. It's selling a ton of times a month. The best sales rank is under basically it's in the thousands. These are the holy grail products of Amazon. You get your hands on something like this, you're going to make a lot of money, generally, if you can read the data correctly. So let's say you found this product on Camerons.com, right? Whatever this coffee company is. Let's say you found this product and you said, wow, I can make 65% ROI. I'm going to make $2.77 per unit sold. I could sell it 2,400 times a month. I can make 10 grand a month just selling this coffee, right? In theory, yeah, you could. Everything looks really good, right? The price is basically the same, pretty consistent. There's not a whole lot of sellers. There's a ton of sales. Everything looks really good. The one big caveat is Amazon. Amazon is on the listing, right? When you see Amazon is on a listing, it kind of gives your hopes up. Amazon on a listing does not always mean that Amazon is going to share this wonderful thing that we call the buy box. Amazon could occupy this buy box forever and never come off. And it happens a lot. They just don't want to share the fun. And the way I do that is you're going to see this all the way down here. So you see all these different variations, right? There's a ton of different variations. I generally tell new sellers to stay away from listings like this because it's very hard to read this data, right? But let's say I found this item and I found it for $4.24. It's selling for $12.60. I'm gonna do exactly what Amazon is selling for. It's selling for $12.06. I can make a profit of $2.23. I'm still making a 50% ROI. So let's say you buy 1,000 units of this, I can make $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month just selling this product. If just buy for what I'm showing you here. However, that's 100% not the case. This listing tricked me. I thought I was going to be extremely profitable till I came down to Keepa. Keepa basically tells me it was selling for months and months and months and months for about the $8 mark. And then the inflation shit happened and everything skyrocketed. Even all of Amazon's prices shot up to about $10. And then all of a sudden, in the beginning of June, it shot up again to $16. This tells me this price is not consistent at $16. And essentially what this tells me is they can go back down to drop down to $14.95. And at the $14.95, actually, hold on a second. At $14.95, I'm actually more profitable. So basically what it did, jumped up to 16 and then dropped down to 12.05. But it could keep on dipping down to 10.99. And let's say if it dipped down to the $10.99, I'm now making $1.24 unit. I'm still making 30% ROI, but that's if Amazon is actually sharing the buy box. And when I'm go down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to variations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it to see how often this variation is selling. So this variation of the 12 pack of the cinnamon sugar cookie is selling 25% of the 2,000 sales, 2,500 sales a month. So this is the listing you want to be on. However, that cost is $7.80. It's not the $16 that we're currently on. And this is what we're using toasted pecan. So let's see here. So this is the product right here. So it's 17% of the actual listing itself. So on average, yeah, in theory, it looks like this could sell. However, if I look over here at the data, this is another key point that I look at, and I go to buy box, and this is what killed me. Amazon has basically been occupying this wonderful box over here 98% of the time. So if this individual listing only sells 17% of the time, and Amazon's occupying it 98% of the time, there's absolutely no way for me to make any money. Absolutely nothing. And this is the type of product research that every seller is going to have to go into. If this seems absolutely complicated and seems like it's a way too much work, then Amazon's probably not going to be right for you. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to understand how sourcing works. And this is what I consider sourcing. Sourcing is going to be something that all sellers are going to have to do as you start to understand the process of selling on Amazon. It is sourcing for me. I love it. I love going through the product research. I like understanding how things work. I like understanding how the analyzing the data to determine if it's something profitable. These days, when I am buying and selling on Amazon, I'm buying anywhere from it ranges. Right now, I'm at about $50,000 a month in terms of spend of what I'm spending on Amazon on a month-to-month basis. And I'm able to take that 50,000 and basically just, I'm feeding Amazon. And it took me a while to get to a point where I felt comfortable to spend that much money, because when I first started, I started with that $5,000. I bought a whole bunch of shitty product, and I lost to $4,000. And then I basically started with from $1,000, and I built myself up, and I did a bunch of this product research to get me to where I felt comfortable making a little bit bigger purchases in order to make a little bit more money. There was a recent flip that I made back in May. Some of you guys may know what it is, and some of you may not. There was a cup that was really popular. It's like the Stanley Cup, right? They were widely popular, and I basically bought them for $25, and I'll sell them for $56, $57. I was making about $15 a profit margin per cup sold. Huge profit. I made a ton of money. I sold 900 cups in less than 30 days. I made about $9,000, give or take, in less than 30-day period of time. Those are huge wins. I've also had huge losses. And that's also the downside of Amazon, which a lot of people won't tell you. I'll buy inventory. It doesn't sell. The product research, I got too cocky. I thought it was going to be a really big win. I buy a whole bunch of it, and it's just sitting there, right? And you have the ability to take that product and basically, pull it back from Amazon and do a return and do all that kind of crap. But honestly, I don't have the time for that. I don't want to touch the product. I don't want to do the return process. I'll just keep it there. But, or you'll just sell for a loss and just move on and take the money and put it into something else. You'll read a lot of, inspirational posts and blogs and from all these people that are selling on Amazon and tell you all the great things about Amazon and tell you hey, how much money you can make. I can tell you there's a huge risk and a huge learning curve if you want to start selling. I'm able to kind of share the good. So one of the things that outside of selling on Amazon, I was talking about I have the Discord. So I have a Discord. It's a subscription-based Discord, and what that allows me to do is I take leads, right, and I give them to you guys because I've already done the product research. I'm buying these leads, but these leads they sell so freaking fast that you can basically get a piece of the pie as well. And what it allows you to do is kind of connect with other sellers that are also doing exactly what you do. There's some camaraderie that's involved in it, and it allows you to kind of connect with other people to get some tips and tricks, also kind of bounce ideas off of, and also for you to start understanding how to source yourself. Lead groups, they're not for everyone. The downside of lead groups. Oh, I'm losing my signal going in and out. If the downside of lead groups is that those leads that you buy may not the price may not stay the same price as it was when you bought it. So you might lose money. Those are some downsides. I've been doing the Discord side of it for about 2 years. I help people basically make money on Amazon and other avenues as well. And in addition to that, I do a lot of like private coaching for people that are looking to basically skip all the bullshit and go right to like, hey, just show me how to do this. Show me how to source. I don't want to read the blog articles. I don't want to watch the videos. Just show me. We do that as well. Me and a couple of the guys, we basically, we jump on a video call, as needed, and kind of help you go through the process of being able to sell. I know that was a little bit long-winded. I really wanted to keep it to an hour, and this is basically at the hour mark. What I'm going to do is, I don't know how you do it on here, but like you can raise your hand or anything like that. If anybody that needs to leave, you can hop off and we chat offline. But if there's any questions you guys have that you would love to learn how to do more of, or what you do or what you don't want to do, feel free to chime in, and I'm here to help answer any questions. Anybody?
You gotta make sure to unmute yourselves first.
Danny, will you email us a copy of the presentation?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then in addition to that, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually building out this first section of this, and I'm going to really build it out in terms of. I'll definitely send it to you guys. In addition to that, I'm going to basically take this and build it out even more, a little bit more in depth. It's going to be more. You hear the term paid course out there. I don't really like using that terminology, but essentially that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like a presentation of that, but on steroids, talking about the how to utilize Keepa, what tools to buy, how you do it, and from there, what you can do is you take that and you can try to figure out the lay of the land yourself. In addition to that, I'm also going to be doing a lot of the coaching, which basically what all the coaching is essentially going to be is taking the guide that we're going to be doing and walking you through kind of hand by hand how to do it. And honestly, I wish I had someone. I had like a mentor when I started. After like 6 or 7 months, I found some guy that kind of just piggybacked off of. But I really wish I had that, because I made so many mistakes early on. And I'm going to tell you about a mistake that I made. And in my Discord group, the guys laugh at me because it's great. So I found this Nerf gun, right? It was, so I bought it on Kohl's.com. I didn't realize how big it was. I sent it to my prep center, and these boxes, when I say they were massive, Nerf never sell a Nerf gun. It's awful. These boxes were like 5 foot by, I don't know, 2 feet wide. They were massive. And they got to Amazon, and all of a sudden the price that I wanted to sell at was no longer profitable. And I said, I was so early on, I needed that money. So instead of like selling at a loss, I basically returned all of it. So I had all these boxes shipped back to me from Amazon. When I say I had 22 Nerf guns, and the way that Kohl's works, the only way to do a return on Kohl's is you actually have to go in store, and their return section is in the back of the store. So I had 20 Nerf guns that I had to return. And I remember I had to make up some excuse. I felt so embarrassed. I told them that my kids, well, I don't have kids. I told them my kids' COVID birthday party got canceled, and I need to return all these. I just need to get rid of them. And she was like, "Oh, no problem." I mean, I felt like a fool. And but those are some of the things that you're gonna have to kind of experience. I think having some bad experiences are going to be some learning experiences, and it's kind of like what's going to allow you to figure out if this is for you. And again, I'm telling you, this is definitely not for everyone. I have some really good friends of mine who tried selling on Amazon. They've had zero success. Jesse is I got Jesse into selling on Amazon. Jesse, how long ago did you start selling on Amazon?
I was just thinking about that. I think I started buying or learning maybe like at some point in September last year, but then by the time I sent inventory in, like I had my first sale on like August 21st last year. So this is like month 11.
And how much
Yeah.
have you sold on Amazon so far? I think I saw it the other day, but I don't remember.
A pretty ridiculous amount, in my opinion. I wouldn't have believed it last year, but I think $380,000 or something.
Three
And
hundred
I
eighty
profited
thousand.
probably like 47,000.
That's crazy. And honestly, that those are the types of numbers that anyone could do. And again, it comes down to what you're comfortable with spending. I can't tell you enough. Like, could you start with $500? Yeah, maybe. It's going to take you a lot longer to get to where you need to be. And sometimes you have to take these, calculated risks to determine if this might be something, might be, a home run. Like, for instance, that product I was telling you about, that fiber product I was telling you about, the guys in the group were like, Danny, you're an idiot. You've only sold a couple of these. Like, don't go crazy with these. And I was like, I got a feeling. Taxes are, taxes with Amazon is interesting. So taxes, so because Amazon is a facilitator, a tax facilitator, they actually handle the taxes for you. You have to file sales tax like anyone else does, but you file 0. And they handle the sales tax for you. Anything accounting, bookkeeping, anything like that, I 100% defer to some type of CPA or accounting person. I don't know that stuff in and out to educate. I was about 2 weeks into selling on Amazon, and coming from someone who has a business outside of the Amazon world, I knew this was going to get very, very messy very quickly if I didn't have the proper setup. So I got an LLC pretty much 3 weeks into selling on Amazon. I didn't even know if this was going to be something I wanted to do long term. I solely did that just to have everything organized in one bank account. So I wasn't using my personal credit card with my business stuff. And plus I kind of wanted some write-offs and I wanted to, get some momentum. But, so now I'm basically doing anywhere, and one of the joys about selling on Amazon is it's at your own leisure. You're your own boss. So you can do as much as you want or as little as you want any day of the week. But I will say is if you want consistency, you're going to have to buy every day. And it doesn't have to be a lot every day, but you're going to want to buy every day. Everything that, let's say I don't source, right, for 3 to 4 days. In 2 weeks from now, that's when I'm going to start feeling it because the sales are going to start being a little bit slower because there's not enough inventory in Amazon. And the way that Amazon payouts work is Amazon pays you basically every 2 weeks. So if, it's based on a recurring scale, they'll hold like a little bit of reserve. That way they know that they're going to actually get paid. I'm going to just show up my Amazon. This is what the Amazon dashboard actually looks like. You can actually see here. So you can see like, I'm going to refresh this. I don't even know. I wonder if I've gotten any sales since I've actually been on this call. I have no idea. So I've had no sales on since I've been on the call. It's been a slow day. I have a total balance of $11,311. That just tells me that Amazon owes me this much amount of money. I sell in 3 different marketplaces. So I sell in Canada. I also sell in Mexico. Those are completely optional. Those marketplaces do a lot less volume than the United States. And what I was telling you about that 2 week pay. So if I come over here to actually my balance, I can request a payout right now for $3,352. And it will be in my bank account tomorrow. Or I can wait and my next payment transfer will be on 7/10/2023, and now my next payment will be $5,500. And right now my account level reserve, which basically means they're holding this. This is essentially my next payout after this, right? So this is my next payout, and they're basically holding this for now for returns and refunds. And let me shop center. All right. Any other questions anyone has before we hop off? No? All right, guys. So what I'll do is I'll put together so everyone that's
I got a question real quick, Danny.
yeah, sure. What's up?
What is your username on Discord and how do we get involved with that?
Yeah, man. So it's my name on there is Dizzy. And yeah, my brother asked me if I'm sweating. There's no AC in this room and it's freaking really hot in here. My username on there is Dizzy. And I feel free to DM me on there. I can I'll get you linked up and we can I'll chat with you and Amy offline. We can get you going.
Yeah, please. DIZZY.
DIZZAY.
Okay. Perfect.
Is a.
Yeah. My AOL screen name back in 1990s. Big Dizzy. All right. Is it? Absolutely. Okay, cool guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm always here to help. I'm always online chatting. So if there's any questions you guys have, or want to share this along with anybody, let me know. This whole thing is getting recorded, so I'll share this as well. That way you can kind of revert back to it. I also put together that the PDF. Hey Craig, I'll link up with you on Facebook and we can get connected. And and then from there we'll figure out next steps.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Good seeing you.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it.
All right. No problem.
Thank you,
Later.
Danny.
Bye.
Well, that went well.
Yeah, well, I don't know how I can't leave it for some reason.
Bottom right, leave,
I did. I pressed
red
that.
button.
Oh, maybe I have to stop.